A blessed Friday to us. One very significant aspect of today's liturgical readings has something to do with, of course, there is a special day or date that we read the first reading, the conversion of St. Paul, which is actually January 25th. Now, this account of the conversion of St. Paul sometimes may cause a little problematic or questioning, because when we use the word conversion, we always have in mind an evil person, no, katong dautan gyud kay nga pagkatao, no, and then being converted to become good. But can this be applied? Could this be applied to Paul? Was Paul bad? Was Paul evil? Of course, from the perspective of him persecuting Christians. But what was the main reason why he persecuted Christians? Nganong iya mang giluto sa mga Kristiyano? It's because of his faith in God. No, he already has a strong foundation of the faith of the God of his fathers. But why was he converted? Because there has to be something added into that. That's why the conversion of St. Paul is something like, it's a modification, or there is something added into what he strongly believed. And that is Christ. No? Gidungag diha sa iyang hugot nga pagtuo kinsa si Kristo. And thus, we have a very beautiful connection between the Old and the New Testament, the economy of God's plan, no, of salvation for all humanity, starting from the beginning of time until the end or the consummation of the world. So St. Paul is actually is now entering into the whole dynamism of what it means to be a completeness. And he struggled in order to be made full. That's what the first reading tells us. No, I will show him how much he's going to suffer for the faith that he also has persecuted. Now, in the same way, this is also the same perspective we can apply in the gospel reading, in the whole stretch of the discourse of the bread of life. Because the Jewish people, reacting to Jesus' revelation about himself, we cannot tell them that they have no faith. They are staunch believers as Jews, but they cannot accommodate Jesus in their lives. That's why there is some kind of a dynamism or a process, no, nga sila nangabuta, wa sila makakita. And by the way, that is also what Paul experienced. Paul experienced darkness so that the light will manifest and will be able to enlighten him. And so this reaction of the Jewish people to the discourse of Jesus as he reveals himself as the bread of life actually is a process, a procedural experience. But it only takes humility to be able to accept what Jesus is teaching us. Just as Paul did. To fall from the horse, no? Ang kadaghanan man nga image ni San Pablo during his conversion, gasakay siyang kabayo, nahulog siya sa kabayo. Actually, that's a beautiful sign of humility. And humility is actually opening up our hearts and ourselves so that something new and something living and something extraordinary will be able to be lodged in us. Acceptance of the teachings of the Lord, which somehow or sometimes, if not always, causes a lot of controversies and discussions among ourselves, even in our times. So this is a very beautiful perspective for today, inasmuch as every moment of our faith life is a constant confrontation of things that we need to embrace and the things that we need to dismiss, so that the truth and the faith and the light of Christ and the light of God's love will be able to enter into our hearts and express through our living and struggles in this world as we continue our journey of the faith. Amen.